Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have the latest from the live radar, run for the latest weather warnings, as we do have quite a few yellow rain and wind warnings over the coming days, as we are now seeing this southwesterly wind firmly taking over. Now it is going to be pretty mild with this wet and windy conditions. However, as we'll see from the latest UKV and especially from the longer range charts, that probably will change towards the end of February into early March. It does look like the jet stream will shift slightly further southwards for the final few days of winter, and we could see colder air mixing back in. Now, not looking at anything too wintry, but instead of temperatures being 13-14 degrees like they'll be over the next few days, it could be back down to 6, 7, 8 degrees, so a bit chillier there. But the theme of wet and windy, that does not change. It's just those temperatures that could alter into the longer range. And so, yeah, not looking like a great next couple of weeks in terms of being particularly dry. It does look like we're going to see a lot of rain and the potential for even some stormy conditions into early March. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. Now, if you start on the live radar, I see lots of bouts of really quite heavy rain moving in from the west at the moment. Recording this around lunchtime, and you can see lots of really heavy squally bands. You can see they're all southwest and northeast aligned along the line of the isobars coming in from the Azores. So really mild air aloft, and pretty mild at the surface today. As I said, low teens possible, and there's just lots of really on and off heavy rain. Even across parts of Northern Ireland, a few thunderstorms breaking out with some of those red colours. Could be possible further south as well, and some of these hefty showers coming in off the English Channel. So a real change to what we've seen the last few weeks. Yes, it didn't turn exceptionally cold like we thought a couple of weeks ago. It was exceptionally cold across Europe, just not for the UK. Still was chilly though, still was well below average, and pretty dry. That's all changing. We are now firmly into a wet and windy pattern, something we've probably not seen for a good few weeks. Of course, we did see some stormier weather earlier in the winter, especially in January with named storms, but not lasting all too long. This, though, looks like this pattern could be recurring for the next couple of weeks, unfortunately. Now, if you look at the temperatures, you can see that they are fairly mild today. Look at this, all of the yellows. It's the first time we've seen this in a number of weeks, all into the double digits. Very mild, especially across parts of southern and western areas, and you can see the contrast between the very mild air and the very cold air is even more pronounced across Europe. Look at France, temperatures towards Bordeaux, down towards the south border, down towards 20 degrees or even slightly higher. You move slightly further northwards and eastwards into parts of Germany and then into Eastern Europe, frigid conditions, and this is because those southwesterlies are fighting against that very cold block, which is now exiting away to our east. Now, if you look at the weather warnings, you can see we've got numerous warnings over the coming days. We won't look at these in too much detail because they are pretty specific to localised areas. So if these do impact you, do check them out in a bit more detail. But we'll run through them quickly just to give an overview. So we've got all these warnings are issued for Friday. So 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. Strong gusty southerly winds may lead to some travel disruption here for western parts of Wales. We've got a similar warning issued for parts of Northern Ireland a bit earlier in the day, 6 a.m. until 1 p.m. Again, we're not looking at ridiculous winds, maybe 50, 60 miles per hour. Another wind warning here up towards the far southwest of Scotland. Again, we're looking at 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. A rain warning overlaps with that as well and heads further inland, 6 a.m. until 6 p.m. And then another rain warning issued across the eastern parts of Scotland, connected again for the same time period. Got a bit of respite on Saturday, and then another big wind warning here issued for Sunday, potential for some really stormy conditions, again 6 a.m. until 6 p.m. Need to keep a close eye on this, looking at 50 to 60, maybe up to 70, risk of a named storm with this. Not seeing massive indications of that. It would be touch and go if it did occur, but at the moment got a blanket warning issued for many northern and western areas, and this was something we will refine nearer to the time. Now, if you go over to the latest UKV now, you can see over the coming hours, we continue to see all of that heavy rain spreading in from the west, and through this evening, it will turn slightly drier as all of that heavy rain does clear. As we progress into Friday, still lots more heavy rain to come into Friday morning, so a brief respite overnight tonight, but that rain emerges once again into Friday afternoon, especially in the north and west, and does try and progress eastwards but does lose its intensity. As we progress later on through Friday into Saturday, maybe some heavier rain skirting the far southeast and east there, but nothing too much, and Saturday doesn't look too bad for the middle of the afternoon. Temperatures will be relatively mild if we're being honest, and of course you can see there's quite a bit of sunshine developing there later on in the afternoon into the evening, and then another spell of very heavy rain there into Sunday. That's the risk of that potential storm system moving in. Need to keep a close eye on that. That all clears, and then we just see some more hefty showers and more longer spells of rain there as we do head into Tuesday. And of course you see a bit of snow mixing in there for northern areas. This is where that cold air could start to dig back in for the final few days of February. Now do look at the wind gusts. Again, we're not expecting anything too major over the coming hours, maybe 40, 50 miles per hour. And you can see as we head into Friday, they could be strong as well, maybe up to 70 in the Irish Sea. But for most, yellow warning worthy, but nothing more. As we progress later on into the weekend, nothing too bad there on Saturday, but then into Sunday, you can see the winds pick up further. Not only are the winds slightly stronger, maybe 65 to 70 more widely, maybe up to 75 out to sea, but there's a much larger wind field as well. That does make a big difference with it stretching over a much larger period and much larger areas. So need to keep a close eye on that. Again, don't think that'll be named. We're not looking at 80, 90 mile per hour winds. That's kind of a threshold nowadays to see a named storm, but still, large wind field could be some disruption. So temperatures over the coming days are going to be very mild, but they will be turning slightly colder as we do get later on in the week, into the start of next week, as we do start to see cold air drifting in from the north. So you can see this afternoon temperatures, look at this, 13, 14 degrees, maybe even a 15, very mild out there for mid to late February. As we progress into Friday, temperatures will still be pretty mild overnight, maybe not getting much below the double digits for some, and again 14, 15 degrees once again tomorrow. Saturday night temperatures a bit colder, down towards the mid to high single digits, but for late February that is pretty mild. And you can see into the afternoon, not quite as warm, but still 10 to 12 degrees, and the same can be said for Saturday, where temperatures again just about getting up towards those double digits, maybe more around the 8 or 9 degrees across central parts as a bit of cold air does start to dig in behind that storm system. And you can see into Monday a little bit chillier, yes, 10 to 12 in the far southeast, but further northwards more in the mid to high single digits. And you can see as we head into Tuesday morning, the risk of a frost develops for northern areas, not widespread, but still could be a little bit significant there. So we need to keep a close eye on that. Now, if you have a look at the longer range now, if we do start on the latest GFS, you can see those southwesterly winds streaming in off the Atlantic at the moment. And you can see as we head into Sunday, that storm system moves in. Luckily, the main centre of the storm stays out to sea up towards Iceland, so we're not seeing the brunt of the systems at this stage, but that could change as said into late February, early March. You can see though the jet stream, that black line between the yellow and green, shifts quite far southwards as we head into the last few days of February. And that could encourage those slightly colder air masses to get involved. And then look at this, for the first day of February, those low pressure systems right over the top of us. This is where we could see even stormier conditions. It goes really unsettled there and really quite horrible there into early March. So jet stream shifting slightly further southwards, allowing those darker blues to drop over the top of us. The ECMWF yesterday shows the tropospheric polar vortex properly sat over the top of us. A little bit more disbanded here on the latest GFS, but nonetheless similar conditions with very low heights. And if we do look at the temperatures associated with this, you'll be able to see it is not very cold, but it's chilly. Temperatures below average streaming in off the northwest, and the risk of the -5 isotherm getting involved. Frost, maybe a bit of on and off snow would be at risk here. If you look at the latest GM to follow up, you can see again jet stream generally through the UK at the moment. So as I said, the strongest winds and the deepest lows staying out to our northwest, but that could change into early next week where we do start to see the jet stream shift southwards and lower pressure systems get more involved. Look at that day 10, a really quite severe low there just to the south of Iceland. If that drops slightly further southwards, then yeah, it could be some really horrible conditions there for parts of Scotland. You keep a close eye on that. But those winds streaming in from the northwest, we would see milder air masses getting mixed in, but also some pretty cold air getting dragged in as well. So as I said, not expecting major wintry conditions. It's not a northerly or an easterly. We need those sort of proper cold air masses to produce anything major into March. But with these cold air masses mixing in under these lower heights, you can never rule out a bit of surprised cold conditions. Wintriness as well would be a hazard. Now, to finish off by having a look at the latest ECMWF again, those west to southwesterly winds continue over the coming days. Eventually, the jet stream drops to our south, and then look at these lows start to barrel in off the northern Atlantic up towards Greenland and Iceland. That's where these do originate from, out towards northeast Canada, and yeah, it could be really quite horrible. By the end of the run, though, the jet stream does shift slightly further northwards once again, so that's something to keep a close eye on. But nonetheless, a good few days here of those northwesterly winds, cold air streaming in from the southern parts of Greenland, and lots of low pressure. So yeah, cold, unsettled, and very windy there. Just really quite horrible conditions. Nothing extreme, hopefully nothing disruptive. The risk is there, but just really quite horrible conditions. Cold, wet, and windy. Not what we want as we do head into spring. Of course, conditions will improve over the coming weeks and months. We are heading towards summer. We're on that conveyor belt now. The polar vortex is starting to lose its intensity. We are slowly heading on that transition towards warmth summer. But at the moment, still got to contend with these pretty horrible conditions, if we're being honest. Now, if we finish by looking at the ensemble, we can see this well reflected. Pretty warm, mild at the moment, 5 to 8 degrees above average. Slowly, though, last few days of February, we drop back towards average or below average, stay pretty unsettled. And remember, London is furthest away from these weather fronts and the lows which are sat to our west or northwest. So precipitation will be a lot higher for those areas westwards and northwards than this. But you can see temperatures hovering more around average, above and below there into early March. So chillier, colder at times, with lots of precipitation. If we look at the 2 meter temperatures, you can see not too much better. 14, 15 degrees the next couple of days, but then dropping back down into the single digits, 7, 8, 9, maybe down towards the low single digits. So again, not proper wintry conditions, but still cold enough to give some wintriness in the north, but cold enough to, keep it still feeling wintry out there. And look at the sea level pressure. Some quite big dips there in the longer term. So that definitely shows you the indication the jet stream is over the top of us or slightly to our north, at least for London, for the next kind of few days, next 4 or 5 days. But as we head into late February, early March, that big drop, that's the jet stream shifting southwards, and these low pressure systems centered more over the top of us. That could cause further disruption. And to finish off, if we look at the latest ECMWF, again, if we do get the ensembles to load, very similar. Well above average over the next sort of 5-6 days, and then dropping back towards average or below average for late Feb, early March, with pretty high precipitation and a very similar signal to the GFS. Pretty strong agreement between the GFS and the ECMWF with this pattern. Is expected. The models are pretty good at forecasting zonal conditions, and that's exactly what we're seeing. The shift is from a southwesterly zonal to more of a northwesterly zonal there in the longer term. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Do enjoy the warmer conditions over the next few days. Yes, it will be raining quite a lot, but do enjoy not needing a big thick hat and gloves. But they might need to return for the last couple of days of February and early March. But I'll keep you on top of that and keep, of course, you up to date with those weather warnings as well. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.